Hi everyone, Dan Whitmarsh here from HR Strategies Consulting. Was hoping to spend a little bit of time to record an event for you on an introduction to SuccessFactors' new user interface and how to enable this. I know there's a lot of resources out there, but what I wanted to do is walk you through a different look at the same data that you may be reading from different places, and just hopefully make it a little bit easier to move forward. We're going to start with some why change elements. We're going to do 3 phases of enablement. Phase 1 being just turning on the latest homepage, which is really quite easy to do. Second is going to be enabling the to-do cards, and there are several steps under there. And then phase 3 are custom cards and anniversary to-do options. And then we'll talk through some best practices, give you some resources. So let's get started. The UI walkthrough here, what I've done is I've condensed a screenshot of the older, more familiar user interface, if you haven't enabled this yet, where you'll see to-dos in tiles. Now we call to-dos cards in the new UI. There are tasks related to all these old Fiori tiles, but what's happened now is the new UI looks a little bit like this. So again, here's a condensed screenshot, sorry about the size of it, but we've got a configurable custom branded banner that you can manage. We will talk about that shortly. We've got quick action cards. Right now, there are limits on how many there are. I believe it's 16, but there will be more coming. We've got approvals that bubble up and percolate up, and so you don't have to go deep into the system to do approvals. You can see red check or X's and green check boxes and do some of them right from that tile that's populating. Sorry, I called it a tile, I should say a card, approval card on the home page. We have a section for survey. If you're not using any surveys, don't worry, that'll just be everything else will move up. It just takes real estate if you have it on. And then we have a bunch of things called for you today cards that are populated based off of the temporal nature of the assignments. So things that are happening typically within short time frame, 90 days, or in some cases longer. But these are things that are going to be unique per user so that everybody has different to-dos up at different times. And some of them allow you to take action right from the card. Others require you are linked deeper into the system. And then we have organizational updates and custom cards. So one of the things that's been surfaced a lot in the conversations is that people say, well, there's only a limited number of cards and quick actions at this time, and you are correct. That is true, but the ability to manage your notifications under the bell icon over here is not going away at the moment. I don't know if it will be long-term or not, I shouldn't say at the moment, but this does have linkages to all of the things that you were required to take action on. So what is missing from here is the ability to use UCalc or kind of dashboard type metrics and tiles. That is coming in very near future, but the first wave of this that we're faced with right now is upon us. So what's really important here to note is that there are 3 phases of enablement. 1, turning on the latest UI, then second, B, enabling the to-do cards, and then C, enabling custom cards and anniversaries on the to-do tasks. What I wanted to do was quickly, just before we get into it, recap the purpose of this whole mission. It is to bring better architecture into play that enables us to put more cards and easier to manage cards in front of end users based on their activities, role-based permissions. The timing, as you can see here from the bottom left of this slide, is not far away. If you do not do this in the near future, it will happen without your choice, and you will be stuck stuck handling a load of change management, to be honest. So in preview, it is June 3rd, 2022. In production, it will be June 24th of 2022. So we've got to get going on this. The why change, it's actually going to make the mobile device much more effective, which is definitely gaining traction and usage. It's going to make the user navigation more intuitive. It's going to give us the ability to leverage APIs and bubble things to the surface on the first page instead of making people go deeper into the system to do actions. And it's going to give you more customization and control over how people use and interact with your system. So overall, I can't disagree. This is a great move forward, but yes, we do have to deal with some change management right now. You will be able to enable these changes, and we're here today to help you prepare. So let's get to it. So we saw the UI, we walked through the UI, we're at the 3 phases of enablement. So let's start with the first, and I'm going to start with the PowerPoints first. You will need access to the Upgrade Center, and you will need access to manage permission roles. First step will be to go to the Upgrade Center, optional upgrades, new experience from the homepage. Second step will be to manage permission roles. There's 2 permission roles. There's an administrator permission roles, which is manage system, manage the latest homepage on this path. The second one is for end users. It is access the latest homepage. Now, what you need to know is that results will come through immediately once you've enabled the role-based permissions. You can do the Upgrade Center portion and the permissions later, but right away you will see that. It does not mean you are getting the cards. It does not mean you're getting all the extra notifications. You are just turning on the new UI for use. So here we are in the older instance where we are taking the first steps. The first step, as we mentioned, is to get to the Upgrade Center, to go to the optional category. Some people like to scroll through. I just like to do a Control F and look for the keyword, Control F and search for the keyword of new experience. And you can see it automatically pulls that up. It's as simple as clicking through the item. We're going to see some notes. Sometimes there's media content that shows you previews of what this looks like. It does say that there are it's a prerequisite. It's not. It's actually a post-requisite in this case. But you can upgrade now or save this for later. So I haven't done this in this old instance, and I'm not going to do it. I need to save it for another demo coming up. But simply clicking in the upgrade now should take you a matter of moments, and then it will allow you to go to the role-based permissions. I've already pulled this open here, and I'm just going to start with the super admins. Now I know there's protocol. You may want to create a permission group first, assign those privileges, then assign those groups to roles. I'm going to take the more direct route in my demo account here of just going into the super admin group for starters. We will talk more about the capabilities or the best practices of enabling this and rolling out. And I'm going to click on permissions, and I'm going to look for manage permission roles and administrator permissions, which is under the header here. And then we go to manage system properties, which is near to the bottom. Again, you can use a Control F here as well. Oops, I went too far. Always the case. There it is, manage system properties. You're going to see right now that under manage home page, there is no option because I haven't enabled it. However, if I jump over to my other instance here that has everything turned on, and I come into my role of admin, system admin, permissions, manage permission roles, and then we're going under the manage system settings. Manage system properties. You'll see here in this instance that there is an item for where is it? Manage the latest homepage. So you can see it right here. It's already checked. I'm just going to uncheck it temporarily. But this is enabled, which means that this group, this system admin group, will have control over determining what the latest homepage looks like. Now, there's a second part to this, is that if we actually go to the capabilities, because not only do we want the admins to manage it, we want them to be able to access it. So if we go to general user permissions, which are closer to the top, if I'm not mistaken, general user permissions, there will also be access the latest homepage. So these are the 2 permission settings that are required to help you manage and control that. Those 2 options to access the latest homepage and manage the latest homepage will not present until you have run the upgrade. So let's talk about the first part of step 2, or part B, B1, enabling the to-do tasks. There are a variety of system to-do tasks, currently 80 that are available, many more to follow. The tools needed to do this, you will need access to the check tool, and you will need access to the upgrade center. There's no requirement to do permission granting here. So first step, you're going to go to the check tool, maybe a new tool for many of us. You're going to look at the MDF Extension Center and the to-do categories and run this check to ensure that none of the to-dos are in conflict mode. And then secondly, you will go to the Upgrade Center and enable the enhanced to-do integrations from the optional Upgrade Center. Now, results here will not be so instantaneous. It may take several hours to populate data. Now, you also need to understand that only to-do tasks created or modified in the past 90 days are migrated to the latest homepage, and not all to-do categories are available. More details will follow here, okay? So let's pause for a second. Okay, so I am in the new system that does have the new UI already enabled, so we've gone forward with that. I've just typed into the top check tool, and I've landed on the admin page for check tool. What I need to do is go to the MDF, and I can just type that in, Extension Center, and select that, and you'll see there's a little arrow indicating there are subcategories. There is a to-do category, and I'm going to put a check beside them, and I'm going to run this check. You'll see it runs instantaneously in the system. 1 check with warning and 5 issues found. So what I need to do is look to see if any of these items are connected to the categories, and I know that these are not. These are all generic object change requests, so they are not going to impact my to-do list. If it was in the list of the to-do categories, we will have a conflict with those items and need to resolve that, and the issues list will take you through those steps to do so. The next step is to return to the Upgrade Center, which, sorry, I thought I was logged in here into the Upgrade Center. Let's go there quickly. And we're going to go to the optional to-do section. Now, I've already enabled this, so I'm not going to see this in the optional. It should just show up, and you can do a search for the enhanced to-do integration. I'm going to pull it up from my previous deployment. So normally this enhanced to-do integration would be in the optional section. As I've already done this in this instance, I'm going to look at the completed upgrades, and I'm just going to do a Control F for enhanced to-do integration. You can see I did this back in August. It was successful, but it looks and has the same feel. You know, it tells you need permissions to access this, which are fine. If you're doing this for the first time, you will see the save now or save for later or upgrade now. Do this. It takes seconds to run it, but don't expect your to-do cards to populate right away. Now let's look at the second of 3 parts on enabling the to-do tasks. This is a separate feature for those that have onboarding enabled. You will want to do this. If you don't have onboarding on, you can completely skip this step, okay? Now, onboarding, for tools you'll need here to manage permission roles, and you again need access to the Upgrade Center. The steps are fairly simple in this case. We need manage permission roles for the onboarding BPE service user, and we're going to look for the employee data, and we need to make sure that that user can view these elements: first name, middle name, last name, business phone, email, job title, and status. Secondly, we're going to go into the permission roles, general user permissions, and we're going to give company info access. We're going to give this role user search capabilities. Then we were going to go to the Upgrade Center, optional upgrade, onboarding data on the latest homepage. So things to note, again, this will not happen instantaneously. It may take several hours for data to populate. So let's take a look. Okay, so here we are. We are looking at the onboarding BPE service user. And where I'm going to go first in the permissions is to employee data. Highlight that in yellow. And you can see here that I have all of the features of view and edit enabled. By unchecking edit, I mean, if we can make it view only or view and edit is the capability. So I do have all the features of first name, last name, business phone, all of those pieces. Oops, sorry, just scrolling to the left. All of those elements enabled. So that is the first step that we need to enable. The second step in the permission is manage general company info access. Oops, sorry, I need to click this open again at the top. Permissions, company It's under general user permissions, company info access. And I know what's happened here. We manipulated this in our last presentation, but you will be looking for user permission of company info access, and there's a search button for user search that you will enable there. Sorry, I can't show you that in this instance right at the moment. Okay, so the third element of this is to go back to the upgrade center, and you will see here in the optional upgrade section, onboarding data on the latest homepage. I've already enabled it, so I'm gonna have to show you again from the recently completed upgrade sections. Just do a quick Control F for onboarding data on the latest homepage. Same as all of the other features. Notes, upgrade, you will see if you're doing this for the first time, upgrade now or save for later. Final note on the onboarding pieces, there are categories that are applicable to onboarding 1 and onboarding, or sometimes known as onboarding 2. So both systems will be supported through that. Now, the third and final element of enabling the to-do tasks is learning to-dos. They have their own type of enablement. To do this, you just need access to the upgrade center. The steps are very simple. There's an optional upgrade for learning approvals on the latest homepage, and an upgrade center learning optional upgrades, learning assignments task on the home page. Okay, so let's visit that. So here I am in the new instance, and of course I've already got this turned on, so I have to show it to you from my recently deployed upgrades. You can see there's a simple option for learning approvals on the latest homepage and learning assignment tasks on the latest homepage. So I've had these on not too long, but these will enable you to do those features. If you're doing this for the first time, they won't be in the completed upgrade section. They will be here under the optional section to the right. Come on, page build for me. There we go, under the optional upgrades to the right, okay? So again, learning approvals on the latest homepage, learning assignment task on the homepage. Now, some things to think about here. This may also take several hours for data to populate. Learning approvals created or modified within 90 days will present on the new as a to-do card, but learning assignments created in the past 5 years will present. So there's a much wider range there of what will populate onto the instance. Other things to note, this is really important. If you're a validated learning customer, if you're using a validated learning system in the health sciences field, most likely, you should not enable this at this time. There will be a future announcement with your own release cycle for the learning management system when the learning to-dos will apply. And of course, it stands to reason, if you don't have learning, you don't need to enable this at all. You can just simply miss this entire step. So the next steps, this is the third and final of the phases. There are anniversary to-dos. It's really a simple one. There's access to the upgrade centers, the only tool required, and there's an optional upgrade to enable birthday and work anniversary cards on the latest homepage, and these results will display immediately. So you may have noticed when I was into that last instance, and I looked for recently completed upgrades. Again, I can't show it to you from the optional upgrade section, and I just maybe search for anniversary, enable birthday and work anniversary cards on the latest homepage, and these will all cascade forward. So now let's switch gears and start to look at the features and functionality of the home. So I'm logged in here again as our admin, Anya, and I wanted to kind of start at the end because I think this is a better segue of how these connect. A lot of you clients had created custom tiles in the old architecture, and you will need them to come forward and to populate into the system. So everything that we're going to discuss in the next few minutes pertains to a new search function called Manage Homepage that you can simply type in here, bookmark as a favorite. This is the admin privilege where we gave them the capability to administer managing the homepage. This is available to that group. And where I'm going to start is right here in the top. You'll see a big blue banner, in this case saying import custom tiles from legacy page. I've already done it, but it really just took me seconds and it went through and they're populated. Now, all of those custom tiles will show up here under the organizational updates, and I'll talk more about them. I've got 16 in total that we can see, okay? So let's look at these features and explore them in a little more detail. Just to return back to the PowerPoint for a second, we talked about importing custom tiles, so there is a slide that shows you how to do that. These imported tiles will be controlled in the organizational updates sections. You will note, and we'll take a look at this in a second, that icons are no longer supported temporarily. They will be coming very soon back to us. So you will need to update images if you don't like what's there. So the big feature that we saw was manage the home page. So I'm just going to switch the PowerPoint mode off for a second. I'm going to move it to show the PowerPoint on the left-hand side of the screen and a split screen where I've got myself logged in as a persona who does have the capability to manage the home page. So the first item we want to talk about is the banner image. You can see this old European street scene here. So if we go to manage home page and click through that action item, the top item that's going to present is the ability to control the banner image. So from the banner image, if we click through the arrow to the right of this, not only in the desktop, but also what it's going to do on the mobile, because now we're able to cascade imagery forward to the mobile. We've got some simple choices. We can upload images just by clicking on our file set, and then maybe I want to click onto my desktop, the new UI files, and I had an SuccessFactors image. Now I can upload a different image for mobile than I want to, because they do have different aspect ratios because of screen size. You'll notice there's a file size limit of 2 megabytes suggested and an aspect ratio of 16:9 for desktop and 3:2 for mobile. I can any moment just switch back to using the default icon, or if I wanted to get rid of it, I could hide the banner images altogether. And then to move forward, I literally just hit save, and that will change. So let me put my little banner back in there and save, hit the OK button. It just ensures that you're using the latest and greatest property. And now if I come back to my home page, we should see that imagery now in place of the old European street screen. The next feature here, I'm just scrolling down the PowerPoint on the left, is about these quick actions. As we mentioned, there's about 18 or 20 of them that are available, and they are controlled by role-based permissions. So for instance, this persona of Jeff Hill does have access to a team, so he will see the My Team imagery. If he does not have access to My Team or reports, those, no matter if they're enabled or not, they just won't present for that type of user. Now, we can control through that Manage Homepage feature which icons we would like our organization to support. So quick actions are here. They are editable. And you can see just by putting check boxes beside them, I can turn features on or off and make it available. Now, if you turn them all on, it's going to pick the 16 that it feels are best fitted for the user and only present those at this time, although we will be given future controls in June on how to control those images. So that will take us back to the home page. You can see that I've just enabled a few more quick cards and they're all here for me now. Other items on the home page are managing favorites. So let's go back to manage home page. I'm sure you're not going to forget this one after today's event. Under the manage home page, there is a favorite section. Now there's a few pieces moving here. Favorites will also allow you to take any custom links you had from your legacy homepage, and I had 3 of them here. So it'll do the same type of import and bring them over, and it's listed them here, and I can turn them on or off, and I can search through them. But at a deeper level, what it does is it gives the ability, there's a whole populated list of favorites available in the favorites quick action tile, and it'll tell me what's available, including the custom ones, by clicking on the tile task. So I had one called position Position tiles, yeah. So if I put a star beside that and move to my favorites, it's now added to my favorites. So I can control as an end user what I want on my favorites list out of all the tiles that are available, including custom tiles. You can add new ones. We'll see this here. If I close this, go back to manage homepage. Click into favorites. You'll see there's a plus sign here, which allows me to take steps to create things with a new name, description, URL. I can make it open in a new window, and I can even control targeted groups here. Okay. So let's move down the line. Next, our surveys. So from that manage homepage window, you could see that there were cards here for surveys. If you do not have a survey tool and you have nothing here, nothing will show. That real estate just will be not vacant, but everything will move up. You can add things. So really it's like a tile, but it's particularly focused on surveys. So you can add your own, including date ranges and target groups, and add them for different users and have multiple versions available. The last element here under manage homepage are organizational updates. And ironically, we kind of started here because this is where we imported all of our custom cards. You can see here that my custom cards of 16 are here. I can view through, edit, delete, manage them. I can adjust the order by dragging and dropping them as I see fit. And then we can always add new cards. What's really nice about this feature is they've now been able, because of the new architecture we've deployed here, are able to put business rules behind them on the assignments. So if we have business rules, let's just open one that's already underway here. So, we can see here that, that we've got the card name, we've got it's enabled on or off, we've got subtitles, we've got background images, there will be icons available soon. If you wanted to disable this right now, you'd actually have to change the image back to a picture and then disable, but don't worry about that. Navigation can be URL, email target, JavaScript. It can be rule-based. So if you turn on the rule-based pieces, you can search through rules and show information and have default starts and assignment dates to your cards. So depending, cards can populate now based on activities people are taking in the system, which is a really cool feature. And coming soon, currently limited to 100, but there will be very soon the ability to create folders with custom nomenclature to park them underneath. So let's talk about best practices. I'm going to turn this back to PowerPoint in full screen mode. Best practices are to start now. Configuration, as you've seen, is really easy, but rollout and managing teams through these changes can be a challenge. So you will need to give yourself time. Second, start with your test environment. Go and just practice with a select group of small users and then solicit feedback. Create a script of, hey, here's what's going to be different. There are documentation and resources coming to you, and we'll show you that in a second. So you can then roll that out to that small group and say, hey, this was too much. Was it not enough? What else do we need to add to it? Test your script to announce the rollout. Then refine that script in the documentation. Leverage change management channels already in practice in your organization wherever possible, and cascade information that changes are coming, not to the functionality, no data will be lost, but different look and feel will come. And to be honest, it is a much tighter and much nicer user interface, and it should be much more self-explanatory than the old SuccessFactors. So then I suggest you repeat steps again in production. Roll it out with a small group, get feedback, do the script, because I'm sure you're not going to do that full cycle in your test environment. You're probably going to do 1 or 2 smaller groups, but then once you've got it, enable those groups in production, start the cascade forward and move them out into production. One thing I did read somewhere in a blog, and I have yet to validate if this is in fact true, is that you should export your theme and save for future use, because there was a note written on one of the SAP blogs that if you wait for the forced release to happen, you will lose your theme, which is your look and feel of how your system is set up. So let's show you quickly how to do that. So under here, as the admin, you will see the capability to do theme manager. So I just open up Notepad. I've got it open here in my other screen. I'm going to move it off the side for a second. And maybe I want to pick a particular theme about Flat Design Tokyo, which was our brand, our company look and feel. You may have more than one theme. If you go down to theme sharing, you'll see the ability to export a theme. Just hit select all, copy, and then bring in your Notepad and paste, file, save as, company theme. So what this will do is save it on your desktop or in a folder somewhere secure and safe, so that when you're ready, you can open up that file, and maybe your system gets wiped of its theme. You can simply come in, just hit create new theme from manage. You'll come into manage themes. You'll see the opportunity to create a new theme. It will be blank. There's nothing there. Go to theme sharing, import theme. Take that information you've just copied and hit import, and then you will only need to add your logos to that. The only thing, and logos come in under the fine tune section where it says logo, and you need to upload a 40 pixel wide logo maximum. That's pretty self-explanatory, but it's pretty easy to do. If you need any help, don't be shy to reach out. So that is the end of the configuration sessions. We've talked about that, exporting your theme. It's a good piece. So here are some nice resources that I want to point you to. There are two of them in particular, and they have subsections to them. The first that I found very useful was produced by SuccessFactors, and it's called Managing the Home Page. And if we click on that, I'm just going to open those pages. If you have an SID, you can get to these pages. You will see homepage UI versions, enabling the latest homepage, about the latest homepage. It's long, but it's very circular. It literally will take you through all the steps that you saw today in sequence, and it'll give you information and link to other things. There is a section here for supplemental to-dos. Some people may have enabled that, and it'll walk you through that section. It's not a very common feature, but if you're using it, there is a piece here on the supplemental tasks from the legacy homepage. Okay, so that's resource number one. The second part of that is that it does list in here, if you search for categories, oops, spell it right. There is a link over to a page that shows, I can't find it. I will get it and add it to the list. It's a link to the actual 80 categories that are in place right now and breaks them down by onboarding 1, onboarding 2, performance, MDF objects, etc. So that's a very helpful resource. The other one is that there was a recent enablement session, and if you click on that enablement session with your SID and it logs you through, there's a lot of good information in this session. There is a 1.5 hour video where they walk through the business case about why they invested in this change and why it's happening. I've given you a few of the highlights. I found that getting access to it is as simple as clicking on the digital library, and it lets you through to the archive. You will need to register now if you haven't done so. I know why it's doing that to me, because I registered in a different browser. Get out of this and go to this browser and click on that link from the PowerPoint, and it'll open up to a profile that I already started. No, it did not. It's using a different browser. Users. So here we go. I did log in and registered. So if it's your first time visiting that page, it'll make you register just so they're collecting information about who's attended. But you will get access to the full-on presentation. You can see it will kick off immediately as the media player starts. I'm just going to put a pause on that so we don't get sidelined by their audio track playing in this window pane. But in here on the additional resources, I'm going to open these in different links. You will see that there's an adoption labs assignment. So it talks about the things that you could do. So if you're really a hands-on and you want to play with this a little bit more, it talks about the steps that we went through, and it gives you 8 or 9 lab activities that you can do. So go here, check this, identify the permission rules, look for this manage the latest to-do page, save the changes, then go back, change the permission rules, and it does it the old way, not the shortcut way that I did, or I shouldn't say the old way, the proper way, where you create the groups, assign permissions, and then move forward with enabling those permissions. And then number 2 is modifying the homepage banner. So it walks you through a series of steps on that and lets you check it, okay? That's one great resource. The other one that's here is the second linkage underneath, which is the actual presentation deck that they present in that pane here that you can watch in its entirety. And it's really nice. It explains in great detail about what cards are available, why it was designed, what this means, the quick action cards that are available, where we're looking for changes. It talks about features released. You know, there's a new capability here to actually nudge and move people from the My Team sections. We can do nudge and remind functionality. This is also in the labs. It'll remind you that. You can set up delegation from the quick tile, which is really nice. New experience tiles, admin experiences, and then it gives us a quick preview of some of the ones. So those tiles and UCalc files that you've created aren't going away. They will be coming out with the next release, and we'll be able to manage and control them. We're going to also get company documents. We're going to get visibility via RBP, role-based permissions. You're going to be able to group custom cards. There's going to be control sections via RBP and enable start dates. Size of cards can be configured. Icons are coming back, and then you're going to be able to put them into different sizes on the homepage, supplemental tasks, and then we'll also see folders and whatnot. Now, the third piece that's in here is the, that's the slide deck. There's an FAQ document. So this FAQ document, you'll get this link as well. 37 pages of questions and some nice answers to it. So keyword search through there if you want to make yourself more familiar with it. And the final piece that we've enabled is a change management template. Let me just click on open the link. And this is a very comprehensive SAP branded document on how to do change management. So if you're struggling not so much with the enablement of the features, but really are looking for some tools that you and your team can leverage to help design a change management program around this, this might be a good starting point. Do note that HR Strategies Consulting does have Process certified consultants on staff. So if you would like us to help you with this change, we can certainly do so and engage with you to scope out what that requirement or engagement would look like. So that is all that I have. Let me just put this back into PowerPoint mode at the moment and remind you, we did a nice event today, April 8th, 28th on diversity. There's linkages here to access that. If you need help, you can always launch a support ticket if you have support. So here's the email to do so, or feel free to contact myself or Terry Jewston, who will be following up with you about your attendance in the event. Thank you very much, and we really appreciate your attendance.